Hi guys, thank you for clicking on this video. Today we will be covering functions, what those are, and how we can use them and how we can even make our code more efficient so we don't need to reuse every piece of code every single time. So let's go over this in more detail once we get to our desktop. Okay, so let's first discuss what the function is. So what is a function? A function is basically a piece of code we want to repeat multiple times in our software. So that's the general idea of a function. We want to write code which can we use multiple times in our code, and we can change different parts of our code by using functions. So the first thing we need to do is we need to define a function. So I will create a function called print hello, and note the def keyword. This notes that we are actually defining a function. And note the brackets here. This also lets Python know that we are using a function. Run the double points. And like I mentioned in my last video, if you have a double point, please make sure you use an index. So we create a code block, so to say, and everything inside of this 4 spaces between, we can write our piece of code. So everything which we will put an indent in front of will be included in our function. So for now, let's print out hello world. So this is now we defined a function called print hello, and to actually call our function, we can say print hello. And as you can see, it now prints hello world like we want it to do. So this is something cool. So this is the general idea of a function. So now we don't have to write the same occurrence multiple times. So we can use one function and use the code multiple times. So if I say print this is a test, so we want to print out multiple times this is a test and hello world. We can run this cell, and now if we run this cell, you can see this is a test and hello world. So what we also can do now is create a new function. So we are going to create a function called def. This is a return. So we created this function called this is a return. And we're going to return a value. So what's happening when we return a value? So we return now, for example, return 3. So I want to return the value 3 to the function call. So now if we say, for example, x equals this is a return. So we store the result of this function inside of x. And the result of this function will be the return statement of this function. So if we now print out x, so we can say print x, as you will see, this now will return 3. So that's what this return function does. It makes sure this is the result of this function. So if we use it somewhere else and we call the function, the result of this function will be what we return. And something else which we can do is a parameterized function. So let's create a new function called the def print params, and we give it the values x and y. And now we're going to print out, we use something called string formatting now. I don't think I've explained it so far. So what string formatting is if we put an f in front of our string, if we use the square brackets, or not the square brackets, the curly brackets, we can actually print out the content inside of it. So print x or y. So we can say now the value of x equals x, and comma the value of y equals y. And to print this function, or to call this function, what we want to do is we want to print param. So we want to call the function, and we want to give 2 values. So for example, I give the value 4 and the value 8. And now you can see the value of x equals 4 and the value of y equals 8. So that's what's inside this function now. So this is the general idea of what functions are. I also put down some exercise you can make for functions. In the next video, we'll go a little bit deeper into functions. We will go over what the stack is, and also how we can call functions inside of other functions, and how we can parameterize functions. So we will cover that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later. See ya.